It's so easy to get caught up in the latest interior trends, but have you ever thought about how they're going to stand the test of time? The reality is that many interior design trends are fads that become dated very quickly. If you don't believe me, we're about to go through some of the worst design trends of all time. Hopefully after seeing these, you'll take a moment to think about how the latest trends are going to stand the test of time in your home. Perhaps it is better to decorate the way you like rather than follow trends. Carpeted bathrooms were all the rage in the 60s and 70s and made a bit of a comeback in the 90s. The idea was that carpet would add a touch of luxury to bathrooms with a warmer and more comfortable feel underfoot. You can kinda see where they were coming from. No one enjoys stepping on a cold tile after a shower, but they obviously didn't think about the fact that carpet is not practical at all in a wet environment and are super absorbent. It is not as if you can pick up carpet and air dry it outside like a bath mat. The same thing goes for carpet in the kitchen. I still see this one from time to time. The smell and oil from cooking, I can't even imagine what it's like underneath those carpets. In the 70s, carpet somehow made its way from the floor onto the toilets itself. Not really sure how people kept this one clean. All I can say is that it was a great time to be in the carpet business. Popcorn ceilings were popular from the 1950s to the 1980s as a super cost-effective way to quickly hide ceiling imperfections. Only problem is that they're a magnet for dust and webs. It is often called cottage cheese or popcorn due to the way it resembles them. I'll let you decide if that is the type of aesthetic you want in your home. But what is even more important to note is that these ceilings were usually made using asbestos, making it dangerous to remove. If you have popcorn ceilings in your home, leave removal to the professionals. Another trend that emerged in the late 20th century were shag carpets, and I'm not talking about small shag rugs. In the 1970s, the epitome of style was to have wall-to-wall super long and thick carpets in every room, often in bright greens or mustard yellows. Super soft, super fluffy, and super comfortable, right? Nope, this trend proved to be highly inconvenient. The main problem was that dirt easily got trapped between the fibers, and that over time, the fibers would mat together, revealing common footpaths. Not to forget to mention that vacuuming was also impossible as all the fibers would get sucked up and stuck inside the nozzle. You still see vertical blinds around today, especially in older rental properties, but they were at their peak in the 80s and 90s. Originally designed to address the issue of covering large windows, they quickly become the go-to choice for window furnishings. Interestingly, they were marketed as being easier to clean and maintain compared to fabric window treatments of the time. A bit ironic because if vertical blinds have any reputation at all, it is for being notoriously challenging to clean and maintain. They tend to get tangled every time you open and close them, it takes so much time to individually dust each piece, and there's always light leakage between the panels. Inflatable furniture has been around since the 1960s and was at its peak popularity in the 90s. In the 60s, designers captured the adventurism of the space age through inflatable ottomans and gazebos, and in the 90s, the trend popped up again with colorful and glossy armchairs and coffee tables. But the reality was that you could never get these pieces of furniture to inflate properly. Most of the time, they look like sad, wrinkled skin. And not to forget to mention how uncomfortable they were to sit on with bare skin, especially in the heat. You really had to peel yourself off them. Thankfully, the bubble has burst on this trend, pun intended. Tiled countertops first emerged in the 1920s, featuring white subway tiles as an easy-to-clean cooking surface during the influenza pandemic. They went out of style and came back in force in the 70s and 80s, and have had a modern resurgence in the past 2 to 3 years. They actually look quite decent when done well, but cleaning them is super difficult, especially with all of the grout, so I'll personally still avoid them. For the last trend, I'll take you back to the mid to late 2010s with word art canvases and motivational signs. It was a point in time when you could hardly walk into a home without being told to live, laugh, love, or being told to eat in the dining room or bathe in the bathroom. Some of my other favorites is always time for wine, live every moment, laugh every day, love beyond words, and the good old good vibes only. All in all, I don't recommend following these awful trends. If any of them are in your home, try to replace them if possible. Unless you personally like them, in which case, don't listen to what I or anyone else says. But what about things now? How do you know if something that is trendy now is going to turn into a contender for the worst design trends of all time like what we just went through? Truth is, there's no foolproof formula for this. It requires a bit of awareness of what is going on at the moment, where the trends have been, and where they're going. But knowing the difference between a fad and a timeless trend can help. Trend is an overarching term for a style that is currently popular. It can be further broken down into fads and timeless trends. A fad is something that rises in popularity very quickly and in turn fades out just as fast. They happen in short bursts and become outdated very quickly. Those pencil tiles that everyone was installing in the 2010s is a great example. That is not to say that all fads are completely bad, but we should be careful about using them in areas that are permanent like tiles. If you're going to follow fads, only follow them for easily changeable items like pillows and other soft furnishings. Timeless trends, on the other hand, are design elements that are repeatedly and/or consistently seen throughout history and can increase and decrease in popularity but are never outdated as such. A great example is checkerboard flooring or neutral wall colors like gray. While you may feel safe choosing a timeless trend, you have to realize that they can be overdone like a fad or poorly done. Taking the gray interior example, using gray around your home is completely fine. Even gray walls are completely fine on their own. But using it everywhere is where it becomes overdone and badly done. Another great example is shiplap. It is appropriate in settings like these, but not when slapped everywhere in a new built home. I've covered them in this video. Timeless features can become trendy when everyone starts incorporating it into their own home, and it will eventually phase out of popularity because people become tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. Now you may wonder, if everything is eventually going to become trendy and then go out of trend, what is the point of it? And you're right, which leads me to my next point. The short answer is probably not. You shouldn't waste your time focusing on what is a trend and what isn't, as everything inevitably goes in and out of popularity. Checkerboard flooring is a great example which has been going through a resurgence lately. If you do focus on what is trending, you'll constantly feel the need to update your space as trends always shift and you'll find yourself constantly replacing trendy items, which is not a sustainable approach. Rather, you should focus on choosing furniture, fixtures, and finishes based on your own personal style and needs. And whenever you're planning to make big changes, be mindful of the surrounding finishes and architectural details already present in your home. Do you really like it, and can you see yourself still liking it in a few years' time? If so, then great. But if you only like it because you're suddenly seeing it across social media, or because of the way you think it will make other people view you and your home, then it's probably best to pass on it. Similarly, if you love something, don't ditch it just because a blogger or a YouTuber, myself included, say that it is no longer in. It is definitely not a good approach and not a sustainable one. I've made a video about design trends that are overdone, but even then, I'm not simply saying that you should ditch these trends, but rather offer a perspective on how those trends can be done better. This doesn't mean that your home has to stay the same either, but it should evolve in a way that suits you and your lifestyle, rather than changing them entirely just for the sake of it. I've also seen many people get hung up on trends as they're afraid it will impact the resale value of their house. My thought on this is that you should design your home for the enjoyment of yourself and your family, not some hypothetical buyer who may or may not exist in the future. Because trust me, chances are they will want to change the decor anyway, and they could easily repaint the walls or put back that bathtub that you removed if they really want to. At the end of the day, most of us do buy into trends to a certain degree, because trends do dictate what is available in store at any given time. But it doesn't mean that you can't focus on getting things that you personally love. By being mindful of your personal style and needs, you can easily choose things that will feel timeless to you. If you're looking to decorate your home in a way that reflects your personal style and needs, I'd recommend checking out the Practical Home Design course that I've just released. I've put months and months of work into this course. It contains everything you need to know, from finding your own unique style to working with a budget, developing color palettes, lighting tips, space planning, and much more. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.